Southeast Texas, thanks so much for joining us on 12 News Plus. We're going to take the next 15 minutes and take an in-depth look at your forecast and even answer your questions. Outside right now, looking at still convection off towards our south and east. Those are moving away from at least from Beaumont. But again, that shows there's still the atmosphere is unstable until the sun sets and maybe an hour afterwards. Did not get as much rain as we thought today. I think we were kind of between systems, but this is certainly evidence of how much moisture is in the atmosphere because of the instability. Otherwise, this view courtesy of Mid-County Plumbing, part of the Roofing 911 Skycam network. This weekend, high pressure will temporarily build our way, and that'll give us lower rain chances, not zero, but lower. We'll go with the below end scattering. That's a 30% coverage, and another hot one coming up Saturday and Sunday. Probably about 95, 96 here in Beaumont, 97, maybe 98 up in the Lakes area, and then closer to about 92 to 4 in Port Arthur. Then, as the high moves away, we'll see higher chances of scattered showers and storms. We're thinking more like a 40% coverage Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. And then as we head towards the end of the week, disturbances will head our way, a surge of moisture, and that may mean even better chances, maybe 50, possibly 60% coverage Thursday and on into Friday. And you'll see that in just a second. Otherwise, weed pollen back down to low levels. It was moderate yesterday. Grass pollen still at 0 and mold at moderate levels on your allergy report this Friday. Your weekend forecast, both days should be partly sunny. We're going to go with 30% coverage of mainly afternoon showers and storms. Middle and upper 70s through the weekend as far as lows. Highs mid, maybe upper 90s in spots, particularly north of the Triangle. If you're doing some fishing tomorrow up in Rayburn, looking at maybe mid to late afternoon thunderstorms working in from the south. We'll go with a 30% coverage. Very light and variable winds tomorrow. Not much wind at all really through the next 7 days. And we'll go 97, maybe 98 in spots up towards San Rayburn coming up this weekend. Moisture levels just do not go down. Every day we expect at least a scattering of showers and storms. There's ample moisture way up the scale, so that no high pressure. Daytime heating will certainly destabilize that atmosphere and cause the shower and thunderstorm activity each and every afternoon. Maybe a little better chance as we head towards, say, Thursday and Friday. So we're going to go with the mid-90s coming up this weekend and coming on down a bit Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as far as your high temperatures. Of course, you can always add a degree, 2, and maybe even 3 up in the Lakes area. Thursday and Friday, we'll see those temperatures coming on down into the lower 90s as more moisture, more clouds, and better chances of rain are on the horizon. Just a 30% coverage, 20 to 30% coverage this weekend. Scattered showers and storms, 30 to 40% coverage Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and 50, maybe 60% coverage coming up on Thursday and Friday. Outside right now, it has just rained quite a bit over towards Louisiana. That was a disturbance that caused the flooding rains up into North Texas, moved off to the east, and now we're getting the south flow around it, as you can see off the Gulf. And what we were looking at on Skycam just a second ago, those are the distant thunderstorms off towards the southwest, over towards Chambers and Liberty County. Again, a very moist southeast flow persisting over southeast Texas as temperatures on the Pro Roofing Concepts satellite and radar loop are into the 90-degree range, at least at the airports. A little closer inspection shows, yeah, it's still unstable. Still starting to see development just northwest of Deweyville. Maybe a thunder shower heading towards Winnie and back over to Liberty and up towards the Lakes area. This is all moving off towards the north after they saw some 4 inches up towards Burkeville. No modeling had that yesterday. Otherwise, very frustrating forecast. I've seen those scattered showers and storms over San Rayburn and back over towards Toledo Bend, moving off towards the north and east over towards the spillway there. So taking a look across the state, as we continue to see quite a bit of rain and thunderstorm activity winding down over towards southeastern sections of Louisiana, I should say. And again, a moist southerly flow continues straight off the Gulf. No high pressure over the state. The high is off towards our east, and that's one of the reasons that we saw 98L head generally off to the west and northwest. So Futurecast showing those showers and thunderstorms ending up in the Lakes area. We are going to continue with another night of showers and storms trying to develop along the coastline in the triangle. Let's see if this model shows it. It shows isolated. We'll go with a 10 to 20% coverage of redevelopment. As I've been doing every night, we've been seeing this activity along the I-10 corridor down to the coastline. So about a 20% coverage, Port Arthur, High Island, maybe Mid-County, BC, back over to Winnie. And then for tomorrow, we should get about a 20 to 30% coverage as showers and storms redevelop over the area because of high pressure building on in. Look at the 97s. I think we could get some 95s, 96s, and 97s coming up tomorrow afternoon under partly sunny skies. So there goes the remnants of 98L, obviously not an issue, and high pressure off towards our east, over towards southeastern Louisiana, and the disturbance that brought heavy rains up towards Burkeville, northern Newton counties, has continued to move off towards the east. And that high will build over our area as we head on over towards the weekend. And that high, it's what we call a dirty high. It's not a strong high, but still moisture in the atmosphere. This will cause temperatures to be above normal, but it's not that strong of a high, so can't rule out at least some widely scattered showers and storms. We're talking 20 to 30% coverage coming up both Saturday and Sunday. And then after we head towards late Sunday, that high will head off to the north towards Missouri. Thank you very much. And then we'll turn our focus off towards the eastern Gulf over towards Florida. That disturbance will be headed our way as we work on in to, say, late this week. At the same time, another disturbance will come in from the north. So we got disturbances coming from the east and from the north because of the flow and configuration of high pressure, which is over towards the Four Corners region. This combined with daytime heating, copious moisture, yeah, we're going to see rain, and it's going to come in on Thursday and Friday across southeast Texas. In the tropics, 98L made landfall earlier today with little fanfare. It never really developed, but you can certainly see that it had a distinct characteristic signature on satellite. It was trying to, but it just never did. Didn't expect it to, but regardless, it moved across northeastern Mexico and South Texas with very little fanfare. Not much rain out of that. But again, the biggest rains were actually off towards Louisiana rather than this little wimpy low pressure tropical low that moved on in earlier today. So now we're going to be watching a bona fide hurricane. This is the first hurricane of the year, or of the season, I should say. This is Aaron, and it's about 365 miles east of the northern Leeward Islands, as the graphic shows. Winds are at 75 miles an hour, gust up to 90, and it's moving quickly off to the west and northwest. Now it's going to slow down as we head through the weekend, being guided or steered by high pressure off towards its north and east. And as we've been saying for days on end, we thought this would turn. The question is, when would it turn? Would it be closer to the coast, the east mid-Atlantic coast, or it would be further offshore? Thankfully, the modeling continues to show that it looks like it's going to stay offshore. That's the European ensemble, but as you can see, a very formidable storm, Cat 4 possible, winds 145 miles an hour is what the Hurricane Center shows 2 p.m. on Monday. Now the question is, will it be stronger than that? It's certainly possible. Forecasting the path is actually easier than the strength of these storms. But again, I've showed you this, is that the ensemble is what the Hurricane Center goes with. You don't show single model runs because you never know if you've got a good run or a bad run. Kind of like I've seen all over Facebook. Single run European model, single run icon models. Those are scary models, especially when you have them coming on into the Gulf. And this is not coming into the Gulf. We've been saying this for days, and you can see 50 runs say no. It's staying east of our area. The big question is this outlier correct? Probably not, but I got 49 runs that say no, it's not. It's staying east of the East Coast. But the storm will be expanding in size, so there could be some effects along the Outer Banks. Maybe even tropical storm force winds, just very early, and provided that this turn does actually happen. Does it continue moving a little further to the west and then turn? It's just too early to say, but it's going to be a very powerful hurricane. The good news is it stays north of Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti, and east the Bahamas and Florida. The question is, when it turns north, will it have any impacts along the U.S. mid-Atlantic coastline? Just too early to say. Otherwise, on the Gulf tomorrow, looking at slightly choppy seas around 2 feet in your coastal marine forecast tomorrow. We'll see south winds at 5 to 10 knots, water temperature 92. Only one high tide tomorrow at Sabine Pass if you are going fishing at 6:43 a.m. Another later sunrise at 6:42 a.m. and sunset coming earlier tomorrow at 7:56 p.m. So our forecast tonight, we're going to keep a 20% coverage the next couple of hours from what we've seen. Southeast winds go calm. There's 20% coverage here in the triangle for redevelopment as we head towards tomorrow morning. Look at those very, very low temperatures up in the lakes area. Not low at all, mid-70s. And of course, we're not forecasting airports because nobody lives at the airport. We're going to go 79 in Beaumont, 82 in Mid-County, 80 in Orange, and 82 in Port Arthur, 76 up in the Jasper, under mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. Then tomorrow, a 20 to 30% coverage on your outdoor forecast. High temperatures, maybe upper 90s in spots in the lakes area. But again, if you're pushing that lawnmower tomorrow, make sure you take breaks, 103 to 106. So a hot day, and that UV index, make sure the kids have sunscreen. That's a pretty high UV index at 11.3. Otherwise, south and southeast winds will be fairly low, so not going to be much help on those highs in the mid-90s and that heat index. And taking a look at our forecast tomorrow, looking at partly sunny skies, about a 20 to 30% coverage. Again, don't be surprised. Somebody up in the lakes area, maybe even in northern Hardin County, could get to a 98-degree reading. That is not out of the realm of possibilities. And we'll go with mainly the mid-90s, even here in the triangle, under partly sunny skies. Taking a look at your weather impact 7-day forecast. Go to 30% coverage, 20 to 30% coverage this weekend because of high pressure. And Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, mainly a 40% coverage as that high moves away. And then, as I showed you, several disturbances, lots of moisture, daytime heating, lack of capping will give us a 50, maybe 60% coverage coming up on Thursday of next week. Otherwise, recapping in your forecast, oh, look at how that cumulus has swelled to a cumulonimbus. That's why we're keeping that 20% coverage in. And it looks like lower chances, though, as high pressure builds in over the weekend. Scattered showers and storms Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and even higher chances Thursday and Friday of next week. Otherwise, your weekend forecast shows those lower chances, about a 30% coverage. It's about normal, with highs into the mid-90s across our area. Otherwise, plentiful moisture expected over our area the next 7 days, so be expecting at least a chance of showers and storms as we continue to see the lack of high pressure except for this weekend. After that high moves out, temperatures go down and rain chances go back up, especially as we head towards late next week. Otherwise, southerly flow continues, just keeping that 20% coverage in as far as the forecast goes this evening. And then again tomorrow morning, looks like Winnie's going to get a shower, a thunder shower. Rain's moving out of the lakes right now and across the state. Let's move on and take a look at Futurecast. So this activity will move out. We do expect more shower and thunderstorm activity to rebuild towards morning here along the I-10 corridor towards the coastline. And then tomorrow, about a 30% coverage, 20 to 30% coverage, with highs into the mid-90s expected across the area. So let's just recap and bypass all the tropics. Obviously, airing is not going to be an issue for the Gulf as it is the first hurricane of the season, and it is expected to stay off the U.S. Well, let's say the southeast coastline. Could be an issue, could brush by the mid-Atlantic, but certainly staying out of the Gulf of America, I should say, and head off towards the north and east. On the Gulf tomorrow, looking at slightly choppy seas around 2 feet, south winds at 5 to 10.